Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome back to the Sunday recap, my weekly vlog where I talk a little bit about my last week in games. When it comes to EVE Online, I had a good first half of the week and then activity dropped off a little bit. Not necessarily because of the sort of bombshell announcement that CCP Games was being bought by Pearl Abyss for $425 million, not ISK. Well, that did surprise me a little bit, and I still have to think about how I feel about it and try to think about all the potential outcomes of that change for CCP. But in the end, at the moment, I have to say that I am pretty much neutral about this change, because it's not like CCP didn't have owners before that were expecting profits, that were expecting growth for the game and things like that. And switching from just what we would think of, I think, as normal investors to an actual game company that has another MMO, I think that there's potential both sides, both negatively with pay to win and things like that, but also positively with the potential synergy between CCP and Pearl Abyss, between EVE Online and Black Desert Online. So yeah, we'll have to see, I think, in the upcoming months when the deal is finalized, what the impact will be on EVE Online. For my game time, I did join the mass test, which went really well. It was a little bit of warping around and then a nice PvP fight there. So yeah, overall, I think that if that was the performance that we can expect for the September release, that I don't expect any real problems there. And then on TQ, just the regular stuff, a little bit of exploration. Also the PI, my plants are getting quite full again, and it's actually a pretty good time to sell your fuel related PI materials, because most of those, if you watch EVE Talk, you know that most of those are cresting. Basically, they're reaching a bit of a top and they are going down slightly in price, but still a good price that's well above average. And also my other goods, you know, it's a mixed picture in the PI market itself, especially in the advanced PI market for structures. There we have some very cheap ones from time to time, but the base materials actually seem to be doing quite well. So I'm a bit surprised by that, but it's a good time to be active with your PI, to bring it to the market and to actually sell it. And then on my BPC front, I'm actually toning that down a little bit at the moment, because sales are not doing too well. And I'm also outproducing my sales by quite a little bit. So I have plenty of BPCs of these structured components that are ready, that are in JITA, ready to be put on contracts. I just don't roll the contracts fast enough to sell all of those. Now the Orca BPC and the M structure BPCs, those still sell quite well and at a good profit, but everything else I think I'm going to switch to building up a library of new BPOs and actually researching them for material and time efficiency for, like, I think 7 out of 10 slots or something like that. So yeah, a bit of a change there when it comes to my BPC activity in EVE Online. Then next to EVE Online, I only have one other game that I played last week, and it is the World of Warcraft, of course, with the patch that came out where you have a raid, where you have ranked battlegrounds, ranked PvP, and a completely different way of earning gear there as well. There's also a world boss now that can potentially drop some really good gear. I basically was like, I've been on this treadmill for 3 months now with my shaman, and you know, I got pretty close to what you could get before the patch. I just didn't finish all my mythics and didn't push to full mythic gear, but with a little bit of gold, I think I patched up most of those gaps. And so I decided that it was maybe time to have a little bit of a change, because running that shaman, that elemental shaman in the dungeons does show that, well, it's definitely not the best DPS class at the moment. And what I personally like the least about that elemental shaman playstyle is the fact that you're very dependent on your cast time. So you need to constantly be casting, and the effect of your spell happens after you finished your cast. And so I was looking for something that would work a little bit differently, and I settled on an Affliction Warlock, which I am enjoying quite a lot. In 3 weekdays and 1 weekend day, I brought that guy to 120, and at the moment I'm actually running him into some PvPs some PvP battlegrounds in order to try and get his gear up to a certain point to see what we can do there. But I already feel the difference between the playstyle of the Affliction Warlock and the Elemental Shaman. It's also a lot simpler, I have to be honest on that. This is a pure DPS class. There's really not as much variety or complexity as with the Shaman class, but at the moment I'm having a lot of fun with the Affliction Warlock. Another advantage also, I would say, comparing the Warlock to the Shaman class, is that if I want to switch specs for the Shaman, well, you could go healing, but that is just such a different playstyle, and it maintains all of its complexity, that is a very big change that is like completely different from what you're doing as an Elemental Shaman. And unfortunately, if you want to go for enhancement, you need completely different gear, whereas the Warlock, switching from Affliction to Destruction or to Demonology, I think that is something that is very low barrier to do. So if you're looking for a different playstyle, but still and you don't want to switch everything around, or you don't want to have to grind more gear, then, you know, the Warlock class is really good for that. And yeah, I'm sticking with Affliction for now. I'm doing lots of damage in the battlegrounds when they leave me alone for a couple of minutes, and that has been quite fun as well. And that's all I managed to do this week, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.